This video is going to talk about a book that I wrote to organize and track my LLM demos. I did these demos at home with no assistance. Now, I did have ChatGPT and Copilot help. This book documents an analysis of how LLMs really work based on GPT-3. GPT-3 from 2020, the basics are still being used in the latest GPT. The principles will be similar. GPT-3 is not too old, not too complex. And GPT, when you ask about GPT, the internals, it will give you details, a lot of details, of technical details. And that's why I chose this. I was really surprised as I got to understand more and more about how these things work. I couldn't find a book like this, and that was part of the motivation for writing this book. This book is as simple as possible. It's as simple as possible to really understand the gist of how this works. But it's not simpler than what's required to understand the gist. My goal here is not something perfect in the sense of a perfect, beautiful book, a perfect video, but something that really gets to the core to help myself and to help you understand how this works. This video is to show you how you can use my book. The book can be downloaded for free. And my lab notes, a collection of about 150 Word files. How you can download these from my G drive, and how you can also get started with AI development. So that's the book. But the place to start out, to find all this, an easy place to start, is ziptieai.com. This is my website. I originally created this website because I was doing AI drones, building drones, putting AI on them, object recognition. I called it ZipTie AI because of the inspiration from Ukrainian drone builders who were using zip ties to put their drones together. And I did a lot of this work while I was in Ukraine myself. And I tested some drones. It's my first drone I tested flying in my kitchen. I later flew it outside. And here's my second drone. Also tested in my kitchen. Then I went to building AI. I switched to LLMs. If you go to this AI text sandbox page, click on About the Author, then that goes to my main wiki page. Here you'll see a link about the book that I have been writing. And if you click on that, you go to the G drive. Also at the bottom of every wiki page is a bunch of links. And when you look on the G drive, you're going to see a lot of Word files. These are my lab notes for all my demos. It's a notes file that I keep my notes, but the main thing here is you want the book. Click on the right and download. This first video is meant as an overview. I'm trying to keep it as short as possible. But the book overview, it's a self-study guide for programming LLMs. I mean, using LLMs. LLMs are extremely complex. If you tried to program your own, that would be pretty next to impossible. You can do small ones, which I go through in the book, but you want to learn how to use LLMs, or you just want to understand. You just read through this document to understand how they really work. So you could use it as a self-study guide to really start using them, or just to get into the tech to really understand it. I put a great deal of effort into making this organized and as simple as possible. So there are 4 parts. Then the core assumptions of the book. AI will invade every aspect of our lives. LLMs are revolutionary, but understanding the basics, required knowledge for anybody in the workforce. You can learn so much now because AI tools themselves will help you get started. So I did all of this, what you're seeing, with no previous experience with AI and with no human assistance. I got all the demos to work. AI tools like ChatGPT don't have any real intelligence. You should only use them as co-pilots. Part about myself. Then the forward. Anthropic was recently talking about, there was some article about Claude having a soul. LLMs are engineering marvels. They've changed my life, but they do have severe limitations. The Claude, what they were doing, they programmed Claude to generate word sequences about possibly having a soul as part of Anthropic's marketing strategy. You could basically take any kind of LLM and run it on any kind of binary device. You could run it on relays like this. It would take thousands of years maybe to get an answer, but you would have functionally the same thing as an LLM that you have now. The only reason it seems intelligent is these GPUs are so fast and so massive that they simulate so well that they give you the impression that these are intelligent devices, but they are not. But they are incredibly useful tools that have changed my life, like my first bicycle, car, computer, my first calculator. So that's why I'm writing this book that explains how LLMs work and how to use them properly within their limitations. Here is the table of contents. A lot of things are still a work in progress. Now I want to go through the 4 parts. So part A, the LLM gist. This talks about the LLM basics. Then it talks about how we got here, the tech foundations. All the various tech that came together so that right at this period of time, we have these engineering marvels, these LLMs. Chapter 3 is how you can get here, how you can get into this tech to understand it. The main way you can get into that is by doing demos in part B. Then this chapter 4 is about the future beyond LLMs. Like I said, LLMs have no intelligence. There will be better ways to do things in the future. Yan Litsun is one of my favorite gurus, and that's what part C is about. Then the LLM tech gist. This gets into a lot of technical aspects. These diagrams are my own. You'll see diagrams like this one right here. I'll make a nice pretty diagram in the future when I'm sure that everything is stabilized. Writing is rewriting. I've rewritten this document I don't know how many times. So that was part A. Part B, we get to the demos. The idea of the demos overview, the stack components. Then I start to get into demos like deploying. And all my documents, you see this 493, that's the same number you see here. All the demos are numbered. The demos are still rough because when I first did these demos, I had no book. I had none of this organization. Things are still a little rough. I'll get that all polished in the future, but it's all there, all the information for agent demos, pilot projects. One pilot project for what I did on this pilot project is, having gotten enough experience, I just used ChatGPT. I didn't have a YouTube video. I didn't have any kind of document. I just used ChatGPT and then started doing things. That's how you really want to do things in the future. You always want to use AI as much as possible. That's how you really get things done. So then we have part C, beyond LLMs. In this, I talk about the problems, limitations of current AI potential and the benefactors. And there's a lot of people like, the big boys here are going to benefit a great deal from AI. But for the little guy, we can also benefit quite a bit. Globalization of employment, it's kind of bringing the world together. You can sell things, you can do things you could never do before. You can have a small home shop. I'm doing everything from my kitchen with no assistance. I can get all this stuff running. I got my copters running. The parts were from China. All of this thanks to AI. Transportation, efficiency boost. In the future, you'll have robot trucks that are perfect for the size of loads that they want to have. Most trucks on the highway are empty. They're going to make transportation, international transportation, extremely cheap just like container ships already have made transportation really cheap. It's going to bring a lot of opportunities in the future. There's good aspects of this, and there's not so good aspects of this. AI robots will be the new one-room school, the home factory. Last chapter, this is what really interests me. The end game with robots. Right now, LLMs are not good for robots. Yan LeCun has a really interesting idea for the next generation of AI. But what he's talking about is still, as far as I understand, just running AI on digital computers. It's binary logic. So you're not going to have any real intelligence. But what really concerns me, and this is my original idea that I've not seen anywhere, is genuine intelligence. I think this is going to be the ultimate threat to mankind. This will not happen for the next 10 years or so. And I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything, but eventually there's going to be pressure to have real intelligence. It's my firm belief that there's only one way to do that. That way will be to duplicate lower order animals, at first like insects, the brains of those insects, creating 3D duplicates, but in electronic form that will actually create the intelligence of an insect. And then it will eventually build their way up to higher order animals. I see this as the greatest threat to our existence in the future. If you had somebody that built like a 3D replica of the human brain, the signals in that brain would be running at light speed, almost light speed. That would be millions of times faster than in your brain. And so these wouldn't be robots that just think as quickly as we do. They would, 1 second of our time would be 1 year of their time. We live in a dangerous world where we've had robots. We recently had bioweapons that got out of the lab. We also have world leaders talking about, getting new organs to live to be 150 years old. There's a lot of dangers to humanity. I think this one will be number one in the future. Tech details, the last thing. Now, here's where I get into a lot of details, some interesting things, like I make a comparison between a object recognition, that's a convolutional neural network, and GP and LLMs. A lot of the math is similar. You can make some very valid analogies between them, and GPT agrees with my basic premise on this. But most of this is going through, talking about the tech details, really understanding it. There's a lot of GPT generated text, but I had to take all the text, organize it. GPT can't organize big picture thought. It can't do that. It is a token generator. Even though you have this GPT to help you get this information, all this great information about the internals of how GPT works, you still have to do the hard work and organize it into a cohesive whole. This is my first version of video 1. I want to do short videos that I can redo as I redo my book. I want to edit things. I want to add demos in the future. AI is in development, so is my book. I'm doing this book to learn a lot of things myself. I'm looking for a job in AI. That's another reason I've been writing this book in product dev or marketing or tech docs. And so if you or anybody you know would hire me, I'd appreciate it. This is not a demo dev or tech writing site. This is a work in progress. Writing is rewriting. The customer for this book is, the main customer is myself, and then it's anybody who wants to read it. If I was to work for a company, then the company is the customer. The focus would be 100% on what that customer needs to develop and sell a product. I'd be interested in a job in the USA or several other countries, or working remotely. I speak German, Russian, and Chinese. I've worked in these countries in tech, and I've worked in Israel and Japan. I know a bit of Hebrew and used to know a bit of Japanese. I think that sums up what I wanted to do in this first video. If I do a future version of this video, I cut it down to 10 minutes. This is 26th of December, the first video in a future series. I'll make future videos that go into each part, into each chapter, and then maybe talk about some new tech or something I've saw on the internet. If you like this video, like, subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.